And we are live, your Kansas City Chiefs instant reaction post-game show with the 580 Sports Talk crew. I'm Brendan Dzwierzynski along with Dan Lucero, along with Jake Lebahn, the full trio here with you following, well, let's be blunt, an ugly Kansas City Chiefs win 19-8 over the, okay, Jake's giving me a face because every win is a beautiful win. As long as it counts in the W column, that's all that matters. The actual
especially
play
on Thursdays.
That's true. That is true. Chiefs win 19-8. They beat the in a row, longest win over one single opponent for any team active in the NFL right now. 4 wins over the Broncos away from tying NFL history at this point. The defense was incredible. It was an absolute masterclass from the Chiefs defense tonight. They gave up the 1 touchdown late. Big whoop. They allowed 8 points for the game. Fantastic night for them. The Broncos are appalling. You truly don't know until you watch them for a full 60-minute game just how freaking bad they are as a franchise right now. It's a disaster. Chiefs offense. I don't know how much of this was they've got real issues. I don't know how much of this was Andy Reid clearly did not care about this game based on the play calling. I don't know how much of it was the players maybe didn't care a whole lot about this game based on some of the ways they finished off drives. But a win is a win. Jake, I will go with you since you are, insistent that every win is a beautiful win. What was beautiful or maybe a little bit hideous or hard to watch in this one for you?
It's a beautiful win because it's a Thursday night game. Like, that's the reason why. The football is not good. Have we ever seen a good football game on Thursday? That's why the unders hit. I don't know, Brennan, what you said today on the show, that the unders hit in Thursday night football like 80% of the time. Yeah, like seriously, go hit the under. But I think this is more about the Chiefs defense than anything. I mean, they were a BS roughing the passer penalty away from a shutout. Like, for real. They couldn't do anything on offense. They ran the ball okay, but then when they needed to, the Chiefs, buttoned it up and got it done. Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, whoever, it didn't matter. The ghost of Rod Smith, I don't care. They did nothing against the Chiefs wider. They did nothing against Chiefs DBs. Like, the defense was so good. When you've got, Chris Jones batting down passes and Karlaftis and then you got Chanel making plays, and then Drew Tranquil's really good, and McDuffie is a legit corner in the NFL.
Yep.
This defense was so good. I know the Broncos offense is not the Miami Dolphins or the 49ers, but midway through the fourth quarter, the Broncos had like 70 yards passing. I mean, the pass rush was there. It was just an impressive defensive performance. Like, that's the number one thing you can take out of this. Thursday nights on offense are going to be tough because there's no real game plan. It's more generic, just, hey, I'm going to be better than you. And the Chiefs defense flat out was that. So that's the big takeaway for me is the Chiefs defense they're so good. Like, do you realize that this year, the Chiefs under Patrick Mahomes is their largest margin of victory since he's been a starter? And the offense isn't even that good. That goes to show you how good this Chiefs defense is through the 6 games or whatever that they've played, or I was going into today. I saw the stat before the game that this was the largest, point spread in the Mahomes era. And that says everything about the defense. This defense is legit.
Yeah, 3 turnovers, too.
Yeah, and we'll get to a little bit more on the offense just in a moment because I do think it is. What was that, Dan?
I said 3 turnovers that they forced.
Yeah,
as well. And that was the one thing maybe they hadn't done to this point was force a bunch of turnovers, and they forced 3 tonight. That was crucial from the defense as well.
Yeah, and I thought the defensive line play too. I mean, they were in the backfield constantly, maybe not getting back for time, but even some of those scrambles by Russell Wilson, and I'll give him credit because I thought, ran today better than he has run in quite some time. The Chiefs were in the backfield constantly. Chris Jones, he said before the year, mid holdout, that this was going to be a defensive player of the year caliber season. It really has. He needs to be at the very forefront of that conversation right now. He was great. I thought everybody up front played well. Bolton with that interception, talking about the turnovers and takeaways. I thought that was an incredible play. I don't remember who I saw say it on Twitter, but there aren't a lot of linebackers who get up and make that play. I thought holistically, this is such a strong defensive effort. And Dan, it kind of feels like this unit's getting better by the week, which you would hope as we get closer to mid-season, you want to see this unit in mid-season form. But man, every week they do something else that just impresses, whether it's coverage, and granted, these Denver receivers suck. They stink. Jerry Jeudy is the softest wide receiver that I have seen play in, I don't even balls that they could have caught. I think Sutton had a couple where he probably should have caught it as well with the contested catchability that I think he used to have anymore. So they stink, but I think the coverage was great. The linebackers played well. And when you're harassing quarterbacks for a full 60 minutes, most offenses won't be able to do much against you.
Yeah, Denver ran the ball okay, which, they probably should have leaned on that a little more. But when they tried to pass the ball, they didn't have much of a chance. And that's certainly a credit to the work of the secondary. You had the 2 interceptions, the one on the deflected ball that Justin Reed got, the one Nick Bolton, a spectacular catch. Like, linebackers don't typically come down with the ball that Nick Bolton came down with. That was a super play as well. You can pick some nits, but they allowed 8 points in an NFL game. And that's twice this year that they've allowed a team to score single digits. And 3 times this year, they've held opponents to 10 or fewer. So you're talking about 3 or fewer scoring plays. And that is substantial. That's big time defense. And there'll be time to pick through and sort through what we saw from the offense tonight, what we didn't see from the offense tonight. But you guys remember the Rams game last year? I think it was coming out of Thanksgiving.
Yep.
The Rams game last year where they were facing Bryce Perkins. And
Bryce Perkins.
I owe you guys for reminding me the guy's name. Otherwise, I would have forgotten who was playing quarterback in that Rams game. And that was a really frustrating outing it felt like, for the Chiefs offense, because they kind of dinked around in the red zone. Mahomes threw a pick in the end zone, really ill-advised play, and he threw a pick. And it felt like they kept a lot under the vest, and they were super conservative, and they weren't fussed with putting a big number on the scoreboard because they absolutely did not believe that the quarterback on the other side of the field could beat them. That was the case against Bryce Perkins last year, and I can't believe we're talking about Russell Wilson this way, but we're kind of talking about Russell Wilson this way. The Chiefs did not believe the Broncos could score enough points to beat them. They thought 17 was a winning number tonight, and they 9 was a winning number tonight for the Chiefs. So it was very conservative. It was very buttoned up. It was very silly, very, very silly on 3rd and 4th and short. For the love of God, that fake field goal is the dumbest garbage I've ever seen in my life. But I think that given it was a Thursday, given it was an opponent that they didn't need to do a lot to beat, I think this was a totally acceptable and impressive defensively Thursday night.
So the defense was great. We're all in agreement on that. Awesome to see. The offense was not. And again, there are reasons why that could have been. Thursday games are weird, even at home, certainly against divisional opponents. Jake, I think you laid that out. Andy Reid's play calling was it was both creative and uninspired at the same time. And I don't much like the team itself maybe got up for this one. And I think everybody who's watching along, either in the YouTube comment section or on the Facebook comment section with our show here, kind of feels the same way. We've got our pal Average Guy 3, and I wish I had a first name for you, but we'll just call you Average Guy. Thanks for watching along. Says the cute play calling was frustrating, but the offense overall better than previous weeks, spreading the ball around. Mahomes had one of his better games of the season, over 300 yards passing for him. Hasn't done that a lot. It was really just drives in that regard. Vance, a little more blunt with it. Stop the cutesy plays, just play the damn game. Yes, I cannot tell you how many times I've said on the show, on 580 Sports Talk, just run normal plays. I was tweeting about it. For the love of God, just do normal things. Run your normal offense in 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. Run normal plays. Look who your quarterback is. We have a comment here from Craig on Facebook that says left some points out there. It's annoying, I think, at this point, more than frustrating, because you can see when everybody is in sync. I mean, this offense still looks great. Shoot, the last drive of the game, right before Mahomes got sacked at the end, the one where Butker kicked the field goal, and they went right down the field. They looked just fine. They had the chunk play to Rice. They moved the ball well. Mahomes was getting outside and throwing it well. Pacheco had an up and down game. I thought, Dan, you made the point on Twitter. He was going east-west probably a little bit too much in this game, and that's not really his strong suit. But it's just like, it would be frustrating if you knew that they couldn't play to a higher level. Like if this just was what they were and you couldn't get beyond it, but we know they're better. And on every game we see them be better. There's just not enough of it. And the short distance stuff just pisses me off to no end. So I don't know. I don't know if you can take a lot from this or learn a lot from it because Denver is so god awful bad, but it's still kind of annoying to see this much talent and coaching that's this good result in a whopping 19 points against a crappy team.
The one thing that I truly believe this, like deep down in my soul, that Andy Reid doesn't call plays correctly against teams he thinks he's going to beat, because there's no reason to do a fake field goal. Like the Chiefs should never run a fake punt or a fake field goal ever. You either kick it, you punt it, or you have Patrick Mahomes make a play or do something like that. Like it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to do that. And this is just who he is. You know, it goes back to look at the play that they scored a touchdown on. It is a brilliant play design. I mean, so good. You got twin wide receivers to the right, and you got them kind of bunched. And then right away, Mahomes knows whoever's lining up on Tony, he's got him beat by alignment. He's shaded up a little bit to the inside, and you got him beat by alignment. So what happens then? The outside wide receiver just kind of does a slight pick play, just kind of runs, bumps, and it's just a quick 3-yard out route. And it's an easy touchdown. Like, that is a brilliant play design. That's so good. So good. But that's not a play call. Like, that's a play design. Why can't you do more of that? Like, we got Kadarius Toney running zone read. Like, why are we doing that? And maybe here's my thought is maybe Andy Reid is playing 8 degrees of chess and is like, we play the Broncos in 18 days. Maybe I don't want to put anything on film. Like, a part of me thinks that. Like, he's that smart of an offensive mind that I don't want to put too many things out on the playbook. But then I'm like, this is your like 10. He does this every damn year. He does it every game. Like, no, it's just like it's like he's got an itch he can't scratch, and he has to do it when you run these like stupid plays. Like, it truly is, part of it. It's like Jekyll and Hyde, right? You get Mr. Jekyll, but you also get Mr. Hyde. Like, it's the same situation. It frustrates everybody, it really, really does when it comes to the offense. Last thing about the offense, they need to get Rice and Ross on more than anybody else because they are the future. They are the future. Get those guys the ball. Rice needs to play 80% of the snaps. Ross needs to play at least 50% of the snaps. They just need to get them the ball, plain and simple. And maybe with Justin Watson's injury, which stinks because he's been Mr. Reliable outside of, the one that he dropped, maybe Ross will get more reps now. He needs to get more reps, not only for this year so that they're ready to go in the playoffs, but also the years previous from now. Like, your top 3 receivers to me are Rice, Ross, and Kadarius Toney, because he is a guy that's got some shimmy and he's got some wiggle. But that's my kind of take on the offense.
And we'll get to that receiver group a little bit more, specifically Rashee Rice and the younger guys on 580 Sports Talk on Friday, because I a thought that I think kind of encapsulates where I am with this group and the potential that's there, but I think needing to supplement it with a little bit more than we've got. I do think the comparison I would make for myself watching these short distance play calls, like the freaking zone read with Kadarius Toney and that nonsense. Like, I feel like Frank Costanza. I feel like yelling "Serenity now" every time it bothers me, because that's how, like, I need to bring some sort of calmness on myself. I was tweeting with some folks that I know who are big football games, like, what are going on? Like, I love watching this Chiefs team, but why in the hell does this keep happening? Like, what is wrong with them? And I don't, and we may never figure out what's wrong with them. But I did want to follow up, Dan, too, because I know you have your pulse, I think, on this Broncos team a little bit more based on, where you're from. You've been exposed to them a lot. You know a lot of people who care about this team. How much can you actually take from this game if you're the Chiefs? And I'm not trying to make this like we had this conversation on 580 Sports Talk talking college football this week. Like, KU destroyed UCF. So if UCF's defense is that bad, how much do you actually learn about Kansas? And I think the NFL is different, but the Broncos are really that bad. Like, there's no fight. There's not really any heart on the field. Jerry Jeudy is more worried about picking fights with former receivers in Denver and elsewhere than he is about actually playing football at this point. Their defense just has no dudes, as we've been over before. I mean, how much weight can you put in any one person's or any one group's performance against a team like that?
Offensively, I don't know really what you take away. I thought Mahomes looked really good. Rashee Rice continues to impress. Kelsey was terrific. It was a vintage Travis Kelsey game. He was excellent, as good as he's ever been. They got the screen game going a little bit, which I always like to see. I think this Chiefs offense really operates well when they get the screen game going. But we also saw some of the things that have been problems through the first 4 games that maybe we thought, oh, they'll be able to do this against a defense that came in as the worst in the league. And they didn't run the ball great. They ran okay, but they didn't run it great. They certainly didn't commit to running it consistently and ran it east-west a little too often, more often than you'd like. But some of that's just Pacheco, I think, needing to, get upfield a little bit.
Sure.
So there's some of that. There was a little more pressure on Mahomes. The interception he threw was created by, everybody said, oh my God, what a terrible throw by Mahomes. But he got his arm hit. And that was why that throw got picked off, is why it came up so short. It's because he was hit when he was throwing the ball. Mm-hmm. I think we have to consider Donovan Smith a liability at left tackle at this point. It's certainly not a strength, and something I think you have to kind of game plan around. That whoever's over Donovan Smith is going to win some battles, and there's going to be some pressure on Mahomes' blind side this year, and they're going to have to scheme around that a little bit and figure out how to go forward. Juwan Taylor had the one penalty. I thought he played okay otherwise, but I'm starting to feel like Donovan Smith's a real liability. Justin Watson getting hurt's a drag. He looked like he might have been maybe seriously injured with that elbow. They ruled him out right away, and that's a trusted target for Patrick Mahomes that might be out for a good while. And that's one fewer guy that Mahomes, looking down the field, is maybe going to trust to be on the same page or make a play on that deep ball. So that's something that maybe the Chiefs look to address moving forward. But at the end of the day, I think Jake made the point that these two teams see each other in 18 days. And you don't want to throw you didn't want this to be a kitchen sink game. You wanted this to be a game that was about execution. And other than in the red zone, I thought the Chiefs executed between the 20s really, really well. I thought it was as sharp as Mahomes' looked, the interception aside. I thought that, again, encouraging things with Rice, encouraging things with regards to the running backs getting involved. Pacheco had 6 catches for 36 yards tonight. That's not a lot, but that almost functions as an extension of the running game when you get him involved and have him dealing out some punishment to tacklers out on the perimeter. So I like seeing them do that. I mean, certainly not going to throw him a parade, not going to give him an A+, but I'm not going to flunk him offensively for this game either. I thought it was, again, what it needed to be, what the Chiefs felt like it needed to be, because of a lack of regard for the other team on the opposite side. And not like a lack of competitive regard, just a belief that we don't need to throw the kitchen sink. We've got enough points in us to win this game.
And despite all the dumb play calls on offense throughout the game, like, it didn't matter. Like, even when it was when it got to be 16-8, did anyone actually think, oh shoot, the Broncos are going to come back? No, nobody on earth. Broncos fans probably didn't even think, oh yeah, we've got a chance to come back. Because
Russell Wilson fans, let me interject here. As a Russell Wilson fan, I've seen him do weirder stuff. I'm just saying. Those days are over.
Dan, those days are over. You got to let that go, bud.
I can't. It's too hard. Go. I saw it too often, man, for a decade.
Yeah, that was a decade ago. I was a lot different a decade ago, too. I can promise you that. Also, Justin Watson, only Chief injured. Andy Reid just had his press conference. Elbow not broken. So to be determined on that. Got a couple extra days, but no, I would like to see more Ross. I would. Oh, also, last thing for me, man, you got to tip your cap to Harrison Butker. 4 field goals, 60-yarder. That would have been good from 70-something. That was good stuff. Harrison Butker, perfect on the year. Mark on our YouTube comments, correct on that. He was the player of the game for sure. But good stuff from the butt kicker.
We will have even more coverage of this game coming up throughout the show on 580 Sports Talk Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. on 580 WIBW, 580WIBW.com, and of course on our YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed already, maybe you're watching it right now and you're not subscribed. Perfect time to do so. Subscribe. It is the best way to see all of our video content, recorded or live, when it goes up online. We will have all the Chiefs coverage, all the Chiefs reaction. We'll hear from Andy Reid coming up on 580 Sports Talk on Friday. We'll, of course, preview the weekend for KU, K-State, the rest of college football, the rest of the NFL as well. That's 580 Sports Talk Friday afternoon from 2 until 6. But until we join for Jake Lebahn, Dan Lucero, I'm Brendan Dzwierzynski. Thanks so much for hanging out with us on our Chiefs Instant Reaction post-game show. Chiefs win 19-8 over the Denver Broncos. 16 wins in a row for the Chiefs over one of their main divisional rivals. We will talk more about this game coming up on Friday. We'll see you guys then.